Me now, and I think we've been able to go on YouTube now. So sorry about that. So I'll just quickly run over in case you're just joining me, meeting me for the first time. My name is Funke Ola Onipeku. I'm the convener of Leadership Lens. Thank you so much for joining me. And sorry about that technical glitch. So we're talking about leadership, what leadership is and what leadership is not. Leadership is the ability to guide, influence, and inspire individuals or group towards achieving a common goal or vision. That's what leadership is. So if you're in that position where you have the ability to inspire, to lead, to guide people, to influence what people do all the time, you are a leader. Thank you so much for joining me, Mr. Peter. Thank you so much. I think we are now both live on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you so much, sir. So, what are the main components of effective leadership? Of course, we see leaders everywhere. Everywhere you turn to, you find the leader there. But sometimes you realize that things are just not done the way it should be done. You find problems in whatever they do. So, the main component of effective leadership is vision, your ability to see what other people cannot see. You have a group of people, nothing, no goal, they just wake up, they do things the way they like, but you see them, you see potentials. Oh, these people can be better than this. Oh, these people can achieve this. And what do? You envision, and your ability to communicate this vision. Sometimes there are leaders who have the ability to come up with a vision, but they can't just communicate it. Nobody is going to come into your mind to read your mind of what you envision of them. Your ability to communicate it, or sometimes you have leaders who are not emotionally intelligent. They have great visions, they can communicate effectively, but at the slight of everything, they just miss it. One word and the whole group is scattered. We can do better. So these are the components of effective leadership: values, empowerment, and delegation. It's not just about giving rules, it's not just about lashing out instructions and everything. It's about empowering people and giving them the power, teaching them what to do and allowing them to do it. So, why does leadership really matter? This takes us to our communication for today. Why does leadership really matter? Number one, leadership exists in all forms of human interaction. Name it, anywhere in the world, any group of human relationship and interactions, you will find leadership there. In families, perhaps you are a parent, that's you are already leading. Leadership exists in homes. You give us instruction for your children. You have in your mind a vision that you want to accomplish as a family. There is something you're looking up forward to join, you want them to become. And so you sit down and say, oh, you decide this is the school we go to. This is what we can do in this home. This is what we cannot do. Leadership exists in families and in communities as well. What about SMEs, small, medium establishments, some smaller businesses, entrepreneur? The moment you open up an investment or a shop or something, and you start employing somebody to stay there while you are away, to join you to do one or two things, you are already a leader. You are influencing, you are determining what time that person wake up in the morning to join you at work. You are determining a lot of things about that person. You are determining how they fend. You are making decisions. You are impacting. You are communicating. Leadership exists there as well. What about our schools? Of course, there are proprietors, there are teachers, there are unsung heroes in school, people who look after your children while you are away. They are leaders as well. So leadership exists in every forms of human interactions. What about nations? Now I need to remind you that we are governed. There are laws, there are rules. There are people who, when we sleep, they decide what happens when we wake up in the morning. That's leadership. The only problem is, although this happen everywhere, this leadership exists everywhere, only few, limited number of people do it effectively, which is why we are here today to learn, to understand why leadership really matters and the best way to go about it. Number two reasons why leadership matters is that leadership creates meaningful changes. What do we wake up to every morning? What do we want to achieve? You want to change something. Perhaps you have accumulated a lot of weight and you want to reduce your weight. You want a change, isn't it? Perhaps you think I can do better in one or two things. You just want a change. That's what leadership does. Leadership creates meaningful changes at all levels. Remember all the examples we mentioned before, in families, in small businesses, in organizations, in nations of the world. That's what leadership does. So when you see between leadership, between vision and outcome, the distance between what you envision and the outcome of it is leadership. You want to turn complaints into solution. Maybe you have a business and everybody is complaining, our goods are not delivered on time. Oh, our customer service relationship is not so good. What's that telling you? That's a loophole. The distance between the complaints, turning it into solution, is leadership, which is why we need to know how to do it and how not to do it. Number three, mediocrity and greatness. The only difference that exists between mediocrity and greatness is leadership. As an individual, what makes you different from every other person, what makes you stand out, is the ability to self-lead yourself to success. Again, don't forget about our definition of leadership. Leadership is influencing others to achieve a goal, at least influencing yourself, at least influencing what you do, how you do it. So these are one of the major reasons why leadership is something that really matters, something that we need to talk about, something that we need to learn how to do. Even as we continue to learn our AI skills, as we continue to learn tech skills, as we continue to strive more, improving on what we do daily to make money, don't forget, in between all of the relationship we will encounter, among everything you will do daily, is that leadership truly matters. So let's flip the coin. What is the cost of poor leadership? Oh, just look around you. Look around you and take a look at families that are not working. Take a look at businesses that are collapsing. Take a look at individuals who are failing. Take a look at organizations that cannot meet the demands of their customers. You look around and look at establishments that when you get there, they are not what they call them. For example, maybe it's a hospital and you have an emergency, you rush somebody, you get there and you start shouting, hello, is somebody here? What's going on here? How expensive do you think poor leadership is? It's beyond what you can imagine. It's beyond cost. It's beyond what we can take with levity. So the cost of leadership, one, is confusion. When nobody is taking the lead, or when there is a leader who does not understand what leadership is about, how leadership should be done, or does not possess any of those skills we mentioned earlier. Remember, we mentioned vision, we mentioned communication. You have to be able to see a clear picture. When you have seen it, others have not seen it. You should be able to communicate it, otherwise everybody will be confused. You will say things and people will stare at you and like, what is it talking about? So one of a costly effect of poor leadership is confusion. Look around you now. Can you see confusion in any of those organizations we mentioned? Can you see any confusion in any of those human relationships we mentioned? Families, organizations, nations. You don't need me to give you an example before you know that leadership skills is missing. Another thing is lack of productivity. What does a leader do? It makes people to be productive. Like, you empower them and you delegate. You bring out the creative potential in people and you make them to do things that they don't even know they can accomplish on their own. That's leadership. So once that is missing, that's poor leadership, and that can be costly. Another thing is there is no progress. If you ever feel stagnated, if you ever seen a nation feeling stagnated, if you ever see a business that 10 years they have been there, but you cannot even pinpoint to what has changed in the last couple of years in their system, in their structure, that's leadership. It can cost a whole life. It can cost a whole family. It can cost a whole organization. That's why you and I cannot afford to leave it to levity. We need to understand why it matters and we need to learn how to do it effectively. What about missed opportunities? A lot. There are lots of missed opportunities when you have poor leadership skills. Maybe you are to meet an investor as an entrepreneur, you have to meet an investor to present what you do, how you do it, and just the way you see them, they're asking you questions. Even though you have those abilities, you know how to do it, but because you cannot effectively communicate that vision to them, opportunities might be lost. Which is why I want you today to stand up and stop losing opportunities in your businesses, in your professional life, in your family, in whatever you do, by understanding that leadership truly matters and these skills must be learned. What about unfulfilled potential? That's one of the costly things you can ever find. That's why Spuro says, the richest place in the world is not in the higher places, it's not in the shops, it's not in the place built with gold, it is in the grave, because people went down to their grave without fulfilling their potentials. Most times because there is nobody to help them to harness these potentials. People have talent, people have skills, but somebody needs to see it and help them to put it together to make use of it. It could just be you yourself. That's why you cannot afford to leave leadership without learning it. You cannot afford to do it just the way you know. It has to be learned and done effectively. I'll give you a reality check. Every problem you see is an invitation for effective leadership anywhere. As an individual, as an entrepreneur, as a leader, maybe in your church, in your school, in your establishment, every problem you see, maybe people come late to work, it's a leadership thing. Maybe people don't stand up to take responsibility. It's a leadership thing. Every problem you see is an invitation for effective leadership. The question is, what will you do about it? What will I do about it? Why you should lead? The only thing you can do about it is to stand up to lead. And while you are standing up to do that, is to learn how to do it effectively. We have leaders in all of those establishments that we have mentioned. There are leaders there. But the problem is most people don't understand what leadership truly is, the skills that is necessary, what needs to be done, and that's why we are seeing all those problems we are seeing around. So I am telling you today, you should stand up and lead. And why should you should lead? Why should you lead, you ask? Everyone has the capacity to lead. Are you in that place where you think, oh, I understand, Funke, this thing you are saying is true. I can see situations, I can see challenges around, but he's not just my thing. I am an introvert. I am not outspoken. I feel shy when I see a group of people. I can't address people. I wish I can. I wish I can't. I can't. I just want you to pause. Take a pause. Leadership is not about being special. Oh, you are an extrovert. Fine, good. It's an added advantage, but it's not the qualification. You are an introvert. It doesn't disqualify you. Everyone has the capacity to lead. It's not about being born special. It's about developing the skills and the mindset, which is why you're here, to learn how to do it, to change your mindset, to come out from those I can't, I cannot, I may not, I will not, and see the need to start standing up to effect change. You want a change in your environment, you will agree with me that there is social decadence. You will agree with me that our organizations are not working. You will agree with me that nations of the world are struggling just because people who are in authority most times are not doing it effectively. And now that you know, will you stand up to lead? Will you learn all of this? Will you come out of this mindset of I cannot, I may not, and just step out? So you have no excuse at all, because everyone has the capacity to lead. The only thing you need to do is to develop the skills and the mindset. Number two, why should you lead? Why should you just stand up among the crowd and say, yes, we got this, we can do this? Because leadership develops you. It doesn't leave you the same way it meets you. Because once you learn his skills, you are not going to pour out from an empty cup. You are first pouring into yourself to pour into others. And again, when you lead, you inspire others to lead. You multiply the impact of your leadership. Once you are able to get it right, people join you and you do it well. When you lead, you inspire others to lead as well. And before you know it, the community is a change place. Before you know it, things are getting better on your street. Before you know it, your local government is no longer called a particular name because you have now taken the time to lead by developing yourself and pouring into others. Now, will you take action? What will you do differently? Because leadership is not a distant goal. It's not something you say, okay, now that I know, maybe I will start next year. Now that I know, maybe I will stand in 2 years' time. No, leadership is not a distant goal, it's a daily practice. Remember, we mentioned leadership exists in every form of human relationship, every form of human interaction. Every time you are interacting with one or two people, you are consciously leading somebody, somebody is leading you or influencing your behavior. So it's in our daily practice. What do you need to start doing? Lead yourself first. Do some simple things and do it well. It's a daily practice. The way you communicate every day, don't we? You see things that you don't like every day, don't you? So you do it daily. Pick up something and say, okay, I can do this. Lead yourself. One of the ways to start is to start by learning, which is why I congratulate you for joining me here and thank you for stepping out to at least learn what leadership is about. Number two is to develop empathy. You need to show some compassion. You need to see how people think. You need to start listening to people to see what their problems are, what the real problem is. You need to go closer to people and find out what is the problem. That's when you can know what can be done. Develop empathy. Develop this attitude of listening. That's one of the major things that is affecting our leaders these days. People are not conscious of what people's needs are. Leaders, you see leaders assuming that this is what people need. Eventually, that's not what they need. And once you cannot get to the root of the problem, there is no solution. So what do? Develop empathy. Instead of just projecting yourself all the time, take time to listen. Find out what people are saying. Find out their perspective. Listen to their opinion. It's not necessarily correct. It's not necessarily we follow them, but we have to listen to them if we are going to be helpful. Number three, leadership is a skill. We need to start learning. Learn. There is a way to communicate your vision. There is a way to look at problems, and when other people are seeing problem, you are seeing solution. That's vision. There is a way to be emotionally intelligent to handle people. All this, I just want to give them a piece of my mind. I just want to say it the way it is. Come and learn what emotional intelligence is. Come and learn when you have group of people with different personality, with different traits, with different background, different culture. Of course, there will be culture shock. The only way to be able to handle group of people without losing your mindset, without losing your intelligence, without losing your emotion is to learn emotional intelligence. And all of these are characteristics, are skills that need to be learned as a leader. In conclusion, if you forget everything tonight, I just want to remind you that leadership is core. Leadership is non-negotiable because it's something we do every day, remember? In families, we lead. In the community, we lead. Maybe you are the chairman, landlord association in your environment. You're leading. Maybe you are a owner of business and you have successfully employed two people, somebody to pack the other, another one to deliver it. You are leading. You need to do it and do it well. Number two, leadership is a skill. Learn it. Enough of assuming that I'm a parent, I know how to parent. Enough of assuming that it's my business, I'm just going to run it. Enough of assuming that it is our turn and we have to do it. Everybody needs to learn this skill and use it effectively. Leadership is a skill, just learn it. Start gradually. The world needs effective leaders, courageous leaders, compassionate and committed leaders to make a difference. We're tired of seeing the same thing over and over. We are tired of hearing the same information. We are tired of hearing empty promises. The world need leaders who are courageous to say, no, we need to stop this. Who are compassionate to listen, to see people who are suffering and not just be selfish, but to say, oh, what can we do to help? What is the solution to this problem? The word lead compassionate leaders. People who are committed to make a difference. That's what leadership is about. It's not just about occupying a title. It's not just about occupying a position or having a title so that when you are coming on the street, people will say, hey, Baba Otwale. No, that's not what we are looking for. We are looking for compassionate people. We are looking for people who understand what this is, who have learned what it is, and able to deliver. My question for you tonight as we round up is, will you be that leader? Will you take action? Will you lead? Will you learn how to lead? Will you unlearn some of the things that you have been doing? Will you relearn? Will you learn to do leadership effectively? Will you put hands together to make the world a better place? If you cannot change the world, you can't change your circle of influence. You can change your own family. You can start a change in your community that becomes a movement. That's what we need. Will you stand up? Will you take action? I encourage you to stand up and start learning leadership, which is why today I'm encouraging you to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Leadership Lens and follow us on Facebook at Leadership Lens, where we learn how effective leadership should be done, where we take one or each of these skills one after the other and we teach people. I am rooting for you. My name is Funkeola Onipekun, and thank you so much for joining me. I leave you to ask me questions, suggestions. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm in the comment section. Happy to take questions, happy to take comments. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. I can see my dad. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes. So one thing I'm leaving you with today is to please subscribe to our channel. And we look forward to meeting you every Sunday, 7 p.m. Nigeria time, 6 p.m. UK time for 30 minutes. Obviously, we have some technical glitch this evening starting. Hopefully, in coming days, we'll be able to resolve that. All right. Thank you so much. In the absence of any question, I'll leave you to go ahead and plan your days. But please join our channels and we'll look out for you. Somebody has just asked, how can one lead yourself? What a beautiful question. That's very good. I like that. How can one lead yourself? The first thing you need to do is to self-assess. You know, when you don't know the problem, it's difficult for you to treat. When you go to the hospital, oh, my head, my shoulder, my knee, what did they ask you? They ask you series of questions. The first thing to do is to identify where you are now. Ask yourself, all of these skills that we have mentioned, which one do you have? Which one do you not have? Which one do you have a little that you can build on? The best way to start leading yourself is to first do an assessment. Ask people around you, genuine questions. Ask for feedback. You can ask, what do you think about my leadership skills? What do you think I'm doing to myself? What do you think are in my interactions? What have you noticed that I'm not doing well? Maybe you're an adamant late comer and somebody tell you, if only you can start coming early. Or when you say, okay, and you pick it up and you learn, you read about it, you put it into practice. Because remember, it's a daily thing. It's not something that you wait until the opportunity comes before you start preparing yourself. So you first of all identify your where you are and identify the skills that you need and learn them. I hope I answer your question at Felicity. Thank you so much. More questions, please. More questions, more questions. Leave a minute for more questions. At Felicity, did I answer your questions? Oh. Thank you so much, everybody. Please feel free to drop your comments even when we are done here, your questions on the page. Remember to follow Leadership Lens. Remember to subscribe. Remember to subscribe. Oh, thank you so much. She said you answered my question beautifully. Yes. And again, because leadership is first about you. You've got to lead yourself before you can lead others. You cannot give what you don't have. So all of these skills you need to learn first for yourself before you can give others. You are not going to tell people to be dedicated, to be committed, where you are nowhere to be seen. You're not going to tell your employees resume by 10 a.m. It's a must, we must come, and you are nowhere to be found at 11 without any genuine explanation for it. You're not going to say, oh, we are the best, and everything you do does not show such of excellence. So we've got to lead yourself. Yes, we've got to lead ourselves. Leadership is first about us. And I'm sure in one of our next series, this is what we will talk about, how you can self-lead. Self-leadership is a whole thing on its own. And I'm looking forward to meeting you on this channel every Sunday, 6 p.m. UK time and 7 p.m. Nigeria time for 30 minutes. It's been a wonderful 45 minutes with everyone today. Thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to seeing you on the Facebook page at Leadership Lens, on YouTube channel, to answer all of your questions. Thank you so much. I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now. Thank you.